I want to share with you the number one thing that I learned while student teaching. I don't normally do videos like this, but this is something that I have carried with me forever and like not even gone a day without like thinking about it and using this in my everyday life that my cooperating teacher told me that is just life-changing that I want you to know. And it's called radical ownership. My cooperating teacher told me this when he was dealing with conflict between students and parents and administration and all those things. And he turned to me and he's like, Emily, whenever you're dealing with anything through life and you're going through a conflict, whether it's with a friend, with a family member, with a teacher, with a coworker, with when you're doing the thing, you're working here in a school and you're working with administration and parents and students, and you are dealing with a conflict and something goes wrong. Radical ownership. And I'm like, what's that, to my cooperating teacher? And he's like, well, let me tell you, radical ownership. So something goes wrong and you sit there and you're like, okay, even if it's blatantly obvious, like, okay, this person was crazy and did this, what the heck? You sit there and you're like, radical ownership. Okay, where did I go wrong? That's where you go first, and stay with me on this because it does make sense. I know it's so easy right away to be like, oh, well, this person clearly was in the wrong. Oh my gosh. But hold on, radical ownership. Where did you go wrong? Where in any part of this scenario could you have improved on? Could you have communicated something a little bit better to even prevent what happened from happening? Any way that you could have made things easier for the other person and also yourself. Radical ownership. If there are ways that you could have improved to make things better, not saying everything's your fault, but if there's ways that you could have improved to make things better, good. Take that with you going forward to the next scenario and make sure that that same mistake doesn't get made again. And then ultimately it's going to make your life easier and the people that you're working with, it's going to help prevent any unnecessary conflict from happening again. You take something from a bad situation, you learn from it, and it makes teaching a lot easier. If you go through this radical ownership and you're like, geez, okay, there's like nothing wrong that I did in this scenario. This person, like, they messed up and I did everything right. There was nothing I could have done better, or that I, even now looking back at it, can do better that I can think of now. Then you get to wash your hands fully clean. That was not your fault. You don't have to obsess over the situation. You can't blame yourself. You did everything that you could have done. It was the other person. Your hands are clean. You can go forward and live your life and not have to sit there feeling guilty over the situation with this parent or the student or the administration or a coworker. Radical ownership has changed my life and has prevented me from getting into these situations where I'm blaming myself or trying to pick apart what I did, or where I'm like, well, I want to learn from this. I've learned from situations like, okay, this is where I could have done better. Now I know I can move away from it. Or, wow, this was really not my fault at all. And I can wash my hands clean of it and not have to worry about feeling guilty anymore. Radical ownership. Put that on like a poster or a big ad board by an expressway because, changed my life. Thank you to my cooperating teacher.